Welcome along to the Army List Analysis series, and today we are looking at the Sword Brethren 1204 AD Army with Baltic Tribes 1050 allies. This army has a nice mix of impact foot and spear, so not so many armies get the impact foot, and we've got a couple of the very best ones with the picked Baltic foot, which are excellent troops. I do a top 10 units in the game. I've done a couple of versions and I've always forgotten about these units, so when I do my third version, maybe in a month or two, I'm pretty sure that they're going to go into my top 10 because they're a great price. You don't get that many units in the 50s. You don't get that many infantry units of superior quality. So superior quality and impact is a great mix. It really is. It's about a plus 50 POA advantage on impact, and even once in melee, because most of the units they're facing will be your standard defensive spear, which are only average quality, they've got an advantage in the cohesion checks because they are superior quality. So they are really great troops. Pity we can't take a few more, but two is okay. And then you've got armored defensive spear, pretty good unit. Gives you roughly a plus 25 with the armor advantage over your standard spear. So mixed in with impact troops and standard spear, it's a nice addition. You've got your Baltic foot. These are all impact troops. So really with this army, a lot will hinge on impact. It's all about impact. You've got, in this build I've taken 7 impact troops of the standard Baltic foot. I always say roughly it seems to me to be about a 1 in 4, 1 in 3 chance of disrupting enemy unit on impact. So if you've got around 7 going in, I would expect to maybe disrupt 2 units of, say, standard spear. The problem is that once they are in melee and they haven't disrupted on impact, they're at quite a disadvantage because they've only got the 50 POA for being swordsmen, so they're down about 50 against spear, your average spear. So that can be an issue. But saying that, we've got 5 defensive spear units to back them up, so it's quite a nice mix, really, this army. Quite a nice mix. We've got 4 crossbowmen with 1 unit of massed archers and 1 unit of raw crossbowmen. That's not a huge amount, but still, 6 is okay, and not all armies get access to 4 crossbowmen, so I really like crossbowmen. They're not only bow but swordsmen as well, so they're better than massed archers and not that much more. They can do well in melee against raw spear, average spear, irregular foot. They're really decent troops, and they made my top 10, in fact. Moving on to cavalry, we don't have tons of cavalry, but we've got some of the best cav, the highly superior heavily armored knights, as well as the superior heavily armored knights. So, and you can take out a lot more if you wanted to. We've got some mounted crossbowmen, which I really like. So we've got 2 of those, and then just your average standard cavalry next to them. So not a really large amount of cavalry, but for this kind of army, maybe it will suffice. We've only got 2 units of light archers. You can take a couple more. So we are struggling a little bit with the cav. We don't have a lot, and then there's not much you can do apart from spending 72 on more knights. You don't have any cheaper end cav really, although we do have some Baltic noble cav. When I was looking at changing things up a bit, if we took took out two of your standard Baltic foot, that still gives us 15 infantry. You could add a unit of knights, so that would give us 3 units of knights. Maybe some players would go for that. Knights are probably going to last longer than Baltic foot, so maybe that's a nice switch, and you've still got 15 units of infantry, so that might be something to consider. You could also take out one of your cavalry units and add some massed archers. So again, maybe some players would go for that, because that's maxing out your archers. So maybe against cavalry heavy armies, that might be useful to get more bowmen on the field. You could also, if we took out these knights, so if we took out 2 Baltic foot and we also took out raw spear, you could add 2 cav units. So there might be times when you need more cavalry. So yeah, they're Baltic Noble Cav. They're not my absolute favourites, but they're not terrible, and they're superior quality as well. So you know that gives you a fair number of cav there. Gives you 8 cav units. So that's quite nice. Gives us a little bit of flexibility. And we've also, maybe we could take out the light archers and add your massed archers. So yeah, maybe this kind, maybe a lot of players would have less infantry, a bit more cav, whether it's 2 of these units or maybe some knights, and max the bow. Maybe this is more the setup that a lot of players would use. Disadvantages: not so many skirmishers and none of the cheap ones. We don't have lots and lots of bow. You're relying a lot on your standard Baltic foot. We don't have any lancers, no light lancers or mid-tier lancers. Not a lot of cav other than the knights, really. I guess you've got 6. You can't really complain too much, I suppose. My rating would be probably about a B. We don't have any dismounted knights. Only 1 armored defensive spear. It's a gamble with your Baltic foot. But saying that, I mean, when you've got so many defensive spear, and if you do well on impact, then you could really have a good chance of winning a battle. And this, you know, can be kind of your hammer. These guys, the pick Baltic foot. And maybe, you know, you could take out another unit of knights, maybe switch out some of these cav units, and give us, probably that's what, I would do, to be fair. Maybe take out mounted bow. Yeah, I think maybe I would take maybe 3 units of knights with this kind of army. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Could be quite dangerous. Could be quite dangerous. Especially on a lot of rough ground and streams and so on, because this Baltic foot is all medium infantry, so it can fight in the open and it can fight on rough ground as well. So some of these maps, like this one, got this stream running all the way through, and then you've got patches of rough ground here, there and everywhere. So that would be an advantage for this kind of army. So I think about a B. I would like some lancers. I would like a few more bow units. And maybe some skirmishers. And some cheaper ones would be great. But you know, maybe a good player can make the most out of this army. Let us know if you're playing with this army. Let us know if you're playing against this army in the league. I think there's at least one player who's using this army. I think it might be in Division E or F of the league at the moment. And let's keep our eyes on it and see how they do. So for me, about a B. And thanks a lot for watching, and see you again soon.